Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone is staying warm and safe out there. It is quite the chilly, or was quite the chilly day, and it is going to continue to be chilly and downright cold and bitterly cold as we get into the latter part of the weekend and the early part of next week. I'll definitely be talking about that. But welcome in. I appreciate everyone joining. Thought I would give an update on where we're at, where we've been, and where we're going from a weather standpoint, that is. And so, with that, let's go ahead and start with the latest radar. And we're going to show a couple different ones here. Okay, so this is the radar that's focused in West Texas, Abilene being right there. As you can see, still orange, a mixed precipitation, but it's mostly sleet. And that is headed our way when we put that in motion. General northeast, excuse me, southwest and northeast orientation. We have some sleet showers in the Metroplex as we speak, and that will continue off and on for not only the remainder of the evening, but overnight hours into tomorrow morning. Now, we're going to talk about what specifically we're going to see between now and in the morning. And let me give a couple of shout outs to my MPA Jaguars and Dr. Russell and Miss Beach. Thank you so much for joining the party. All right. So, like I said, between now and probably midnight ish, we're going to see these off and on sleet showers. But after midnight, especially, we're going to start to see these sleet showers ramp up and more in coverage and intensity. And that will carry on most of the night into tomorrow morning. Now, as we get into sunrise, maybe a little bit before tomorrow morning, we're going to see more snow mix in with this, I think. So the bottom line is we're going to see some more sleet accumulations. And then on top of that, we'll probably have, depending on where you're at, maybe an inch or two or snow on top of that. So with that, let's get to some graphics here and we'll kind of explain all that. All right, so just to kind of reset everything, this is the current configuration of the winter storm warning and the ice storm warning. One thing you may have noticed is that the ice storm warning has been expanded, not into Dallas Fort Worth, thankfully. And we were very fortunate because we did not have near the ice accumulation we could have. And that is definitely good news. We had way more sleet than originally we were thinking of. Although that I have to admit that kind of went back and forth. Earlier in the week it was sleet, then it went to freezing rain, then it went kind of back to sleet. So that we definitely were fortunate that it was sleet because we would have had, I'm afraid, if it had been more freezing rain, would have had way more power outages. So thankfully that did not come to fruition. But again, if you have family members in Canton or watching from Canton, Palestine, Centerville, back to down to the south of Killeen. Now a lot of this ice storm warning is in the Austin, San Antonio National Weather Service office jurisdiction. So not really even most of it is not. I don't think any of it actually is part of the Dallas Fort Worth office jurisdiction. But if you have family down there in the Austin area, just north of San Antonio, they are expecting some icing down that way tonight. So especially if you have travel plans or you know people coming up from Austin tomorrow, I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. So as far as timeline goes, we have this winter storm warning is in effect as it has been since it was issued noon tomorrow. Now, what we're looking at from a sleet snow accumulation standpoint total, but between the 2 to 3 inches, isolated 4 inch mounts closer to the Red River. Could still see a little bit of ice accretion, tenth to a quarter of an inch. I don't see quarter of an inch anywhere in North Texas anymore. And I think is if we do have any ice accretion, it would just be from freezing drizzle, which would be between the sleet showers. And again, I don't think that's going to amount to much. But of course, on the roadway, it doesn't take much at all. So that's still an issue. Excuse me. As we go into the nighttime hours, we're already there. Any warmth from the roads tend to be released as solar, not so released that warmth tends to be released into the atmosphere if we don't have the sun behind the clouds to help break up the or help warm up the roads a little bit. And so overnight's definitely gonna be slick. It was slick today. Went out there a little bit. Wasn't too bad, but during overnight hours and tomorrow morning, especially as if we get a couple more inches of sleet or snow, we it will be very treacherous in the morning. Hello, Jamerson. So if you happen to have plans in the morning. Most churches, I believe, are canceling their service or making them online. So hopefully there won't be a whole lot of people that have to get out for that. Never a bad idea to go to church, by the way, but most of us will probably stay home and do online services, I would think. And Andrew can't open my truck doors with ice. Yeah, I know. I had that problem earlier too. That is definitely something you have to watch out for if you're out traveling. Whether it was today or during overnight hours, even tomorrow with this sleet. So again, if you don't have to get out tonight, I would not recommend that at all. All right. So from a timing standpoint for the rest of this event, then we are going to see graphics was a little made this afternoon, but this purple is more of this sleet. The pink is more sleet and freezing rain mix. Of course, Sunday morning on the right side is the bluer color sleet and snow mix. The pink being the freezing rain and sleet mix. That's mainly southeast of Dallas Fort Worth. I don't think we're going to see, like I said, the only freezing rain would be drizzle, and even that's not going to be too much. I think going forward, we're going to see sleet and snow until this event ends, which is probably going to be noon tomorrow. Ice accumulations again, a 100th of an inch up to 10th of an inch. Again, that would probably be for mainly because of freezing drizzle. And then as far as combined sleet snow amount accumulations, you're talking 1 to 3 inches for most of us, 2 to 4 inches northwest of Dallas Fort Worth. Anything southeast of Dallas Fort Worth most likely would be less than an inch. Again, that's sleet and snow. But where we do get these convective bursts, you could see more than that, and that's very common. We had some thunder sleet south of Dallas Fort Worth earlier today, so that kind of shows you how dynamic this storm system is, and which has brought our crazy weather that we've had the last day or so. I do want to talk about this. Don't walk on frozen ponds or pools. I don't know that pools we probably don't have an issue with if you get your pump going. But I don't know if it's been cold enough to be honest with you for any of the local ponds to freeze up. But what will happen come Sunday night and Monday night is that because we're going to be in this prolonged period of below 25, below 20 in some cases, then that could start to freeze over at least a very top layer of these ponds, and that's where you don't want to mess with it. So, yeah, not going anywhere, Andrew. Yeah, good. I don't blame you. Stay home and stay warm. So, just stay away from any kind of pond that you think is frozen over because I can almost assure you it's not. Okay, so with this, we talked about the cold a little bit. Been talking about this every stream I've done, but the the really cold weather is coming now. You may say, "What do you mean coming? It's already here." Well, not quite. So, for most part, the Metroplex right now is hovering anywhere from 17 to 23, give or take. It's 21 at my house. But it's gonna get colder, especially Sunday night and Monday night, and even tonight to a lesser extent. So, we could see temperatures wind chill values as low as 11 below in some cases before this is over, and then low temperatures probably northwest of Dallas Fort Worth could be below 0. Probably not in the Metroplex, I wouldn't guess. And southeast of the Metroplex, 14 degrees is probably the coldest you'll get. And that's, of course, where we have problems with pipes. If, you know, really starting tonight, I mean, the low temperature tonight will probably be in the upper teens. But anytime you get 20 or below, that's kind of the rule for any prolonged period. That's kind of the rule of thumb on, hey, I need to open my cabinet doors where pipes are on outside walls and where you need to drip. So that will really start tonight. And then pretty much going to be the case until maybe Tuesday morning. That's what's crazy. Most school districts around here are closed on Monday, so you don't have to worry about that. But it's you just don't want to get your pipes frozen in your house because then you have way bigger problems to deal with. Speaking of which, as far as the cold, it's not going to go away quickly. It's going to stay cold for at least 3 or 4 days. So we're going to start out, like I said, with temperatures in the teens tomorrow morning, and then temperatures close to 10 on Monday morning. maybe even lower than that, depends on where you're at. And then Tuesday morning might be the same, around 10 degrees. So that's cold. And when you combine the wind, then you're looking at potential wind chills as low as 11, 12, 13 degrees below zero. Yes, below zero. And you don't want to be outside with that. You are welcome, Miss Lechner. Um, so again, it just goes the same thing. Starting tonight, you're gonna not 24/7, but certainly during the overnight hours, drip those faucets, especially if they're on outdoor walls, and especially if they're on the wall that faces north. And then if you do go outside, just cover all your exposed skin. Just don't have any, and that'll keep you safe. Now the big question is, you know, when the road's going to get better. That depends on a couple things. They're going to get better. It's just obviously when. So tonight and tomorrow morning is going to be the key, because if we do get 2, 3, 4 inches of whatever sleet or snow and or whatever combination thereof, then it's not going to go a lot of places tomorrow because it's still going to be cold. We are not projected to get above freezing until Tuesday, like at lunch. Now that could change, it just depends. But so the mess on the roadways it's going to take a while to melt. Now the best case scenario would be after our system departs tomorrow. I not forecast to get any sun tomorrow. I mean afternoon. I mean not out of the question, but it's definitely more possible and probable on Monday that we would see sunny skies, cold temperatures, but sunshine during the day would help melt some of that ice, even though the temperature's not going to get above freezing. And then that would help Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning is just we're too far out to know right now what that's going to look like because we haven't had this latest round of precipitation come through yet. And we just don't know what's going to be left on the ground. But at the very earliest, as far as any kind of widespread improvement on roads, you'd be talking Monday afternoon, maybe, but probably not till midday Tuesday. But again, if we don't get as much precipitation as we think, then it won't be that long. So, like I said, just graphically, tonight 15, 16, colder north, warmer south, warmer being a relative term. And then wind chills tonight, anywhere from 3 above to 5 below, depending on where you're at. Tomorrow night, Sunday night, Monday morning, temperatures, most for us in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex will have temperatures in the single digits, I should say, and wind chills below 0. So keep that in mind. Now, Monday morning, don't gotta go to school, anything like that, so that's a good thing, but it's gonna be cold, and it goes back to the pipes and all that. Just make sure that you're taking care of that because temperatures below 20 that long and if you don't do things to prevent your pipes from freezing, then they're going to freeze. So that's just something that you just wanna take care of right now, and it's in your house. Probably probably a little late to go wrap that outdoor faucet if you haven't already done that. But indoors, yeah, just keep those cabinets open underneath the sink and drip them, and you should be fine. All right, so let's go back to the favorite thing we like to do and look at models. And again, as while I'm getting these models pulled up, remember that models are not a forecast. Say it all together. Models are not a forecast. But they do give us ideas about what's going on in the atmosphere. So this is the ACRRR, done pretty well for this event. So this is current and depicts things pretty well. This red-ish, purplish, pinkish, whatever you want to call it, is sleet. And so we just move forward to a couple hours, and we start to see this. And then again, that's mostly sleet. Really expand in coverage over North Texas. This is midnight. Again, not a exact future predictor of the radar image at midnight, but kind of gives you an idea. And then and then really through the night, it's going to be mostly sleet. But when you get to the back end, really right here over the Metroplex, this would be let's see, what would that be? I always have to convert to Zulu time. Let's see. That would be 7 no, not 7, 8 a.m. Um, 9 a.m. and then it kind of moves off. Now you don't see this on this particular model run because it hasn't gone out that far. But yeah, we could see some snow flurries, some snow showers later in the afternoon, but it's not supposed to be significant. I don't know if the wrap shows that or not. Let's see. Goes out a little further. Let me back it up. And no, it shows it dissipating. We'll see what the NAM does for this. Actually, make sure I got the latest to do. Back this up. Overnight, it's got the snow on the back end. Yeah, so pretty much every model says, hey, that snow that's out in West Texas, it is not going to make it to it. So I almost forgot. Shout out to my Instagram people watching. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that. Looking over there, don't see any comments, but if you have comments over there, just let me know. All right. So let's go back to the radar. And let's see here. Where did that thing go? Okay, that's let me do this real quick because that radar is not working, but this one is. There we go. Okay, so as you can see right now, just some sleet showers, mainly in Collin County. Let's put this in motion. And again, everything's moving southwest and northeast, at a fairly good clip, I guess. Now you see more development to the southwest of us, and I'll expand this out a little bit. So this is the beginning of the main upper level disturbance coming into North Texas that will produce the sleet and snow overnight, probably starting before midnight. How far north is this coming from since it's going all the way to the coasts? I think I understand your question. So this, if I didn't, let me know. This whole storm system originated in the Pacific Ocean, kind of dove south along the California coast, then took a right turn at the Baja Peninsula, and then now it's moving northeast. So it will be a coast to coast storm, if that's what you mean. It's approaching West Texas as we speak. It's going to move over us overnight, and it's going to move on to the East Coast. Sunday and Monday, New York City, for example, was supposed to get a lot of snow. So yeah, if that's what you mean, it's been a pretty big system, and been watching this system over the Pacific Ocean since really Tuesday of last week. And I will say this: the long range models typically do a pretty good job in predicting this. We really started seeing signals of this last Sunday afternoon. And while obviously you can't predict that far out exactly what's going to happen and when the precipitation types happen and all that, but overall it did a really good job. All right. So you estimate based on the current information that Tuesday AM will be in the teens? Yes. Temperatures will be in the teens. Or well, your follow-up or single digits. Yeah, let's go back to that graphic real quick. Okay, so Dallas Fort Worth right here at top. So Tuesday morning teens. Yeah. Now that's at the airport. You're gonna see temperatures maybe 8 or 9 outside that area, mainly north. So I would say that teens in general, 12 degrees. I don't think you'll really see a whole lot of single digits on Tuesday. The only thing that would change that is that if we get way more, let's say way more, very scientific, if we get more accumulating snow and sleet than we think, that would hold the temperature down a little bit more. That's the only thing that would change. But a wind chill again Monday morning, -5 again at the airport, and then 0 Tuesday morning. Wind chill, not temperature. So it's Tuesday's still gonna be cold. The only question is what the road's gonna look like. Hello, Mr. Guzman. Is there any anticipation of the storm slowing? The storm system as a whole, no. But it is still on track to go southwest and northeast. And let's do this. This will actually give a better idea of what Mr. Guzman is asking. Let me stop this real quick over here. And we'll go back to the bigger picture radar. Okay. So let me zoom out on this a little bit. So this kind of gives big, man, probably go a little bit more. Well, a little bit more. Okay. So right here is the upper level low that is going this way. So it's coming. That's what's going to come overnight. Now, when you put this in motion, while we're doing that, Roger had a follow up or a comment. Just didn't want hanging out long. Yeah, no, we don't want it hanging out any longer than we want to either. I promise you that, Roger. Uh, but right now, from a forecast standpoint, it's not going any slower or, quite frankly, faster than it was originally forecast to be. So, no, it's not going to hang around um, any longer than it's been forecast to. So, I would suspect that if it keeps on its current trajectory and path and time and all that, we'll see the snow or maybe sleet start to really drop off after 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, give or take an hour or two. And after that, it should be pretty much done. Now, I will say this though, like I said, we could have some flurries in the afternoon. That shouldn't amount to anything. And I don't think I have a graphic, but the other thing, let me get this question in here. How fast is the storm moving? Well, the upper level storm is moving about 100 miles an hour. And that's right here. So it will be scooting across the Metroplex during the overnight hours. And how long is it? From a width standpoint, well, actually, there's a couple things. One is the actual low pressure system itself. You think we always think about hurricanes, and there's this, oh, it's a 200-mile wide hurricane. As you know, a hurricane is just an area low pressure. I say just, but it's an area low pressure. So this compact storm, this short wave, this low pressure, it's probably about the same 100 miles, 200 miles across. But the storm itself is, there you go. That's how long it is. However you want to measure that, that's how I would measure it. So anyway, so as you can tell, everything's moving off to the northeast. I don't think I have a graphic for it. I wish I did. Um, so the one thing that you might look out for tomorrow is, I know it's going to sound crazy. We've had it before. Lake effect snow. And you're like, Jeff, are you crazy? We don't live anywhere near the Great Lakes. This is true. However, what we do live near are we do live near lakes, just not near as big. And so what can happen in these situations, especially tomorrow, because as this low pressure system moves over it's going to change the wind just a little bit to more directly northwest. And actually, I think, what is yeah, we have more of a north wind direction right now. I have to go over there and look at that. And matter of fact, yeah, at the airport. So, but tomorrow when that low pressure system basically moves over us and gets on the other side of us, you're going to have this counterclockwise wind direction for North Texas. And so I think I could do this. Actually, maybe not. Well, yeah, that's not going to work. Well, what I was going to try to do is kind of point out these lakes. So, Lake Louisville, Lake Ray Hubbard, Lake Levon, or excuse me, Lake Levon, Lake Ray Hubbard, Texoma up here, Possum Kingdom Lake, Eco Mountain Lake. So, what can happen is that you get these northwest winds, and the lakes aren't frozen over, because if you know the last month or so, there's been a lot of lake effect snows. If you're a weather nerd like me, and it's been going crazy. But as the winter goes on, the Great Lakes freeze over, and then they're not able to supply that moisture for snow. These lakes, obviously, our lakes aren't frozen over, and they won't really be. I know they were way back in the day at one time, but they won't really be frozen over. So they'll have that moisture to work with. So what happens is that lake is warmer than the surrounding air, obviously in this case. And so you get that kind of combination of moisture, that warm, relatively warm moisture coming out the lake, forming clouds, and of course it's so cold, it's forming snow. Now it's a very low level process. It's not a very high level process in the cloud. But if you're downwind of that, of the lake, you can see snow bands. Now, I'm not predicting that it's gonna be you're gonna see like 6 inches of snow southeast of those lakes, but don't be surprised tomorrow sometime after the main system moves through that you don't see lake effect snow bands if you hear about it. If you if you're in our neck of the woods, Saxe, Garland, Southern Collin County, Northern Dallas County, the only way we would see anything from a lake effect snow standpoint is from Lake Louisville. And, for the easiest one to get lake effect snow because, we live basically southeast of that lake. Lake Ray Hubbard and Lake Levon does us no good, even though they're way closer, is because, we live on the quote unquote wrong side of them. So, but if you live in Heath, or Rockwall, you could definitely get that from Lake Levon or Lake Ray Hubbard. Yeah, just something to think about. Not predicting it's going to be, like I said, some 6-inch snow band along Lake Ray Hubbard or anything, or Lake Louisville, or even Lake Texoma. But yeah, I'll be curious to see if that comes to fruition. After that, though, the system will move off. Monday, I don't think we'll see this tomorrow, but on Monday we'll see the sun again. It's still gonna be cold, not gonna be above freezing. So that's what happens Monday is gonna really determine what happens on Tuesday from a road standpoint. We know it's gonna be cold regardless, but we just don't know yet, how Tuesday's looking. All right, so let's do a quick summary here before we sign off. I'm going to change this one real quick and be a little bit easier to show. Okay, so let's do this real fast. For those of you just joined us, and as always, this is going to be a video on demand. Winter storm warning until noon tomorrow. Could see 2 or 3 or 4 inches of additional sleet or snow overnight, depending on where you're at. If you're further south, southeast of Dallas Fort Worth, or south of Dallas Fort Worth in the Austin area, there's ice storm warning there. So if you know people there, make sure you tell them if they don't know. I'm sure they probably do. Timelines: this sleet's going to this freezing rain, freezing drizzle sleet is going to transition over to all sleet, and then sleet and snow tomorrow morning. Again, could see accumulations 1 to 3 inches. Average in Dallas Fort Worth 2 to 4 northwest. Ice accumulations are minimal. We would probably just get those from freezing drizzle. And then if you're outside anytime between now and Tuesday morning, it's going to be cold, so dress appropriately. And just as importantly, make sure that you open those cabinet drawers underneath your sinks, especially if they face north walls, but really they face any wall. And then drip those faucets so you don't have those issues later. And then tonight, lows in the teens, mid-teens. Tomorrow night, lows in the upper single digits. And then after that, we will slowly start to warm up. Warm up being a relative term. All right, let's go back here one more time and put this radar in motion. I don't see any other comments, so didn't want to miss them. But again, you can just see this area to the southwest moving up our way. You see some more sleet showers forming this way. So it is the main show is about to begin, and that's what's coming. That's the Abilene radar. And again, you put that in motion and you see it heading that way. And lastly, we will look at the San Angelo radar, put that in motion. And yes, so definitely will be a winter night, that's for sure. The only downer is that most of the cool stuff is going to happen overnight when we won't get to see any of it. We get to wake up to it, or wake up to what it did, but that's okay. We'll take it. I mean, we got Monday off. Well, the school kids have Monday off, and so hopefully, Mother Nature will give us a show. You are welcome, sir. I do like to do this, and yes, I am looking forward to visiting MPA, Mr. Tovar. Um, Looking forward to it once we get past this, as your email stated, which we're about halfway through. So, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to coming out. I really am. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate that. Okay, that's pretty much it. Like I said, if you just want all this in two sentences, gonna sleet and snow tonight and be cold. There you go. And don't travel on the roads unless you have to. Okay, more than two sentences. Yeah. Okay. I see Mr. Guzman's kids will be excited to wake the snow. Yes. And I will say this. As you see from the radar, it's going to precipitate some more. How much we wake up to, this is Texas. I I I have um I grew up in Texas as a kid, and when forecasting was not near the science it is now, and it's still not perfect, obviously. Yes, let's just say I've woken up as a kid. Thank you, Miss Collins. I've woken up as a kid to be very disappointed at times on how much snow was, quote, on the ground. So, but yes, hopefully we will wake up to it being whiter than it is right now. But we shall see. Look, I think we got a pretty good chance. But this is Texas. That's my disclaimer, and I'm sticking to it. All right. I'm watching Letters You Don't Have to. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me tonight. And again, I really appreciate the fact that you tuned in. And I love doing this. I love educating people and keeping them safe. And before you know it, it will be tornado severe weather season. And then we'll be talking about a whole different idea. But we're a couple months away from that. So, and one more comment from Miss Halliday. Yeah. I did do a live stream driving around earlier this afternoon, so it's on my YouTube page. I think it's on my Facebook page too. Yeah, if you just want to see what the roads were like, yeah, go check that out. And if you don't follow me on Facebook, you don't subscribe to me on YouTube, go ahead and do that. And then hit that like and subscribe button on whatever platform you want, and then you won't ever miss one of these updates. How cool would that be? Okay, again, as always, I'm Wesley Literacy. You don't have to. Again, thank you so much for joining me. Everybody, stay warm, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next one.